Thank you so much for joining us today. I've got Sadye Bernheim. She's a certified life coach. And so many people will call me before they've told their spouse that they would like a divorce, and I never know what to say. And I might have a few words of advice, but Sadie is here to really go over that and give us a few tidbits of things to look out for on how to tell your spouse. So thank you, Sadie, for being here.
Yes, thank you so much, Leslie, for having me. This is a really timely topic, not only because one in every two marriages ends in divorce these days, but also we're in kind of unprecedented times with the COVID situation. Spouses are suddenly thrown into the home together where they're accustomed to working outside the home. And they're suddenly working from home. And not only that, but they might be e-schooling their children. And so spouses that were getting along perfectly well have been under a lot of stress recently. And so the first thing I would say, Leslie, is uh, make certain that this is not something in the moment. If you feel like you want a divorce, then make sure that this is absolutely what you want. Because once you decide this, there is no going back. And if that is truly your decision, then before you initiate the conversation with your spouse, I feel that it's very important that you go in and see an experienced divorce attorney, a litigator, someone who will advise you of all your rights about your property and children and finances, uh, but also not encourage you to file immediately or litigate. You know, if it's someone like that, you don't need to see them. It's really important that you explain to the attorney that you're paying for the consultation only and that you are simply coming in to find out what your rights are. That said, once you have this information or have acquired this information from the attorney, I think it's also equally important that you not use it as a weapon or a threat when you have the conversation about the divorce. So, how to approach the divorce itself in a conversation. First of all, think about the setting that you want to share this information with your spouse in. I feel it's very critical that you two be alone in a very neutral place, that if there are family members or children, that they not be present and that you are respectful of the spouse as well. So you ask your spouse if they would be willing to sit down on X day and have a very important conversation. And then once you are there, it is most important to keep the focus on being non-accusatory. So do not say you did this or you did that, but rather use the term I. I have been thinking about this for a long time. I've been unhappy. I want a divorce. And use your own words. Obviously, these are suggestions, but make certain that you use your own words and that you remain just as calm and neutral as possible. Also, understand that your spouse will probably be reactive. It's possible that your spouse may already know that there are problems, but sometimes they're completely blindsided by this information, perhaps because they've been in denial about it. And so remain calm. If your spouse begins to yell, just remain calm, acknowledge their feelings. I know this must be difficult for you. This is a hard conversation to have. I'm sorry that we're having to go through this. And the next step would be, give your spouse a little breather after the conversation to digest everything. Uh, Also, this may sound redundant, but do not have this conversation on a holiday or a birthday or anniversary or anything that could be construed to be a special occasion. I come from a history before I became a life coach of being a divorce litigation attorney for 25 plus years. And sometimes, quite by accident, a spouse would be served on a birthday or anniversary, and it was devastating to them and something that they would never forget. So if you want to keep a nice neutral tone. Be sure that you don't do anything, burst out with, I want a divorce at the middle of the Thanksgiving table. That is not helpful. So once you come back to the table to have your second conversation, I think it's also very important that you stress to your spouse that you absolutely want this process to be as respectful as possible, and that you would like to work out things and not try to litigate the matter. And I do, with my background, I do strongly suggest that you get a qualified mediator like Leslie here, who can help you through the process. By having a divorce mediator, of course, there will be contention, but that contention is usually worked out through the mediator in several sessions, where you work out as many issues as you can, such as your custody, your support, your property matters. And I can also speak from experience that you really do not want a judge deciding the fate of your children. I have seen so many clients crying and unhappy because they did not get the time with their children they wanted, or they were not getting enough support, or didn't get the property that they wanted. So you two, as parents of the children, as co-parenting together, and also as two people that once loved one another, are in a far superior position to decide what's going to happen to your children, your distribution of assets, and support if that is a requirement. And I do want to clarify that the information I'm giving today is for spouses that are simply not getting along, or you've grown apart, not for situations where there is abuse or sexual abuse or domestic violence, or even an imbalance of power, perhaps, where one spouse has been dominant over the other spouse for many years. So I did want to clarify that, but I do help clients who are not only initially going through a divorce, who need to be coached through the process, but also those who are already facing a major life change, such as divorce or other large life change. So I would be happy to help. My name is Sadye Bernheim. My phone number is area 303-709-6321. And I serve the Denver area live, and I also serve across the United States via the Zoom format. So I would be honored to help you. And thank you so much for having me today, Leslie.
Well, you're welcome, Sadie. That is such good information, and I appreciate you offering it.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for listening. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right. Well, you can find more on Sadie's website and on my website at garciamediation.com. Sadie, what's your website?
My website is dreamsintorealitycoaching.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have a great day.